It's Tuesday morning from 6 till 8. Wow, it's Tuesday with Bob Plass.
Community Radio
89.5 WSKB.
How you doing today, folks?
Live from the campus of Westfield State University. This is 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield. You always forget about that one.
Hey, there you are. How you
Good
doing?
morning, Joe.
Good morning. How you been?
Better.
Oh, wonderful.
better than normal.
I'm in a big chair today. This is different.
Yeah, not too bad. I'm kind of doing most of this from remote, so.
Great. All right. Well, we're here from the town of Southwick today. I'm on 89.5 FM, WSKB.org. And with me today, I have Dennis Clark. Dennis, how are you?
Good morning. Thank you, Joe.
What are we here for today, buddy?
We're here to talk about North Pond, I believe.
Oh, I thought we were going ice fishing.
You could go ice fishing. Well, I don't know. It's been a warm winter.
I'm glad you brought that up. We do have an ice fishing derby scheduled for February 18th.
That's this
Saturday.
weekend?
Yes, this Saturday.
What time does that start, Dennis?
I believe registration is at 6:30.
Free breakfast?
Well, there's breakfast there. I don't know if it's free. But
Oh, okay.
there's
Just
gonna be
checking.
Breakfast, and it's going to be at the Cove Banquet and Tavern, 90 Point Grove Road. It's a $20 entry fee. The proceeds of it will go towards preserving North Pond.
Wonderful.
This is a Rotary event, which Joe could probably tell you more about.
I guess I could if I went to Rotary, huh? I've been missing quite a few meetings due to my Blandford schedule. But do you ice fish, Dennis?
When I was younger, I ice fished. But
It's a lot of fun.
it is.
It really is.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, you guys won't make a ton of dough on it, but it's probably a great way to get out on that water and kind of see the area that you're talking about.
It's supposed to be a beautiful day. You get to
Great.
see the beautiful North Pond, the shoreline, the whole area. One
Nice.
of the reasons why we want to preserve it.
Wonderful. All right, so what is up with North Pond? What's the game plan over there? Is the town buying it, or you? I heard you were buying it.
Well, I was thinking about it, but I'm a little short on cash this year.
You should talk to your wife. Maybe she could help you out a little bit.
A few million short. Quite a few million short.
All right, so the North Pond is behind the old brass rail.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the property we're speaking of, can you get there by car?
You can get there by car, not right now because it's privately owned, but
Correct.
if the town does purchase this property, there will be a parking area, a small parking area on South Long Yard Road.
Okay.
It'd be a place for you to park and walk right to the where Kings Beach used to be.
I've heard of that, but I'm 51, I think, and you're probably right with me. So we don't, other than pictures, we don't know much about Kings Beach.
Now, guys, I think I saw plans about this one, and it was almost like a trail access type of thing off the roadway, and then the land was being kept basically undeveloped as a wooded area, right? Is that what I saw for the plans for this?
That is correct.
See, I saw condos everywhere. I'm not quite sure what you guys are talking about. But I guess we'll go with the wooded effect, I guess. So
This is supposed to be a preservation area, right?
Yes. Right next door to it is the wildlife management area, which is 250 acres that the state currently runs as a management area for endangered species. And they put up $1,250,000 towards the purchase of the property that abuts them to include that on their preservation land. And the town would basically, I think, want to do pretty much nothing with the property that is on the lake. Maintain the trails that are out there, make sure we keep them safe, put a little parking area in, maybe a porta potty down the road someplace, but pretty much just keep it in its natural state.
So the trails that are there now, Dennis, that's more of a private thing anyway. So someone like me legally wouldn't be on those trails today.
That's correct.
Okay. All right, wonderful. But on the conservation side that's already there, there's existing trails you can walk now?
Yes, and they are linked, so you could walk on those trails that would bring you to the property that we're interested in buying.
Is there motorcycle activity out there and the ATVs and that stuff, or that's further down towards Connecticut that I hear about?
Historically, there was a tremendous problem with ATVs and motorcycles, but in the last couple of years, they've really come down on that, and they've stopped that entire
Been more enforcement, you mean, on that?
Yes, environmental police and the fish and game people have been out there in force. They have cameras. they've been confiscating vehicles and fining people. So it's really put a big dent in it. It's pretty much subsided in the Massachusetts side.
Wonderful. I mean, there's always a place to go riding, supposedly. I saw that Baker a while back in the press, they were trying to open up some of those parks for riding.
Sure.
Not
yeah.
in Southwick, but just in general. Wonderful.
So, guys, I have a question. How did this whole thing start? Because I seem to recall there was something going on that I saw on the Westfield News show a while back on this. How did the whole idea to preserve this land start?
Now, didn't they develop a piece of that 1,000,000 years ago?
It wasn't that long ago.
Okay.
So maybe 20 years
20
ago.
years ago?
They had one of the sons that owned the property was planning on developing everything.
Okay.
And he did develop the North Pond area that has a small subdivision. And he actually doesn't own the property. His stepmother took it over. And at the time, maybe 6-7 years ago, she was talking to the town about doing something other than a subdivision. This is back when things were prosperous,
Sure.
and they were talking about putting some kind of resort area out there.
Nice.
But the economy kind of fell through, and we've been looking at different options through the years. This year, we talked to the Fish and Game because they just purchased their property
Right.
about, 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago?
I believe so, something like that, yeah.
And they expressed interest in putting some money into it. And it's a high price tag, so we really needed to have everybody supporting this project. And
So she came to you a couple years ago, or came to conservation, or came to, I mean, how did it, I think what he's one of those, how did this all evolve? Where did it really start? A phone call?
well, yes, Denise, the property owner, came to the planning board
Okay.
to discuss with them, what they could do out there. And there was a lot of problems because there was cottages, a lot of debris out there. People are dumping, they're just dumping water heaters and things. So it came to the town, the Board of Health got involved and started working with Denise, cleaning the property up. They removed all the cottages, cleaned all the debris out of there.
Wow.
And put up some fences so that people can't get in there. And she started negotiation, started talking to the town.
Right.
And we had a couple of people meet up with her from the Fish and Wildlife, ask her if she'd be interested in preserving it, and she decided that she would hold off on selling the property.
Right.
We have a purchase and sale on it this time.
Yep.
And that's how it started. That's,
Right. And then how do the numbers really work? So she had a number in her mind, and I'm assuming we're out getting appraisals now or something along those lines.
The original number back when we first started talking, believe it or not, was $11 million, which was
Wow.
way
Yeah.
out of anybody's league. But that she was set on that price. But then when we had an appraisal done, it came back at less than $5 million.
Right.
And the most recent appraisal we had done came back at $4,900,000.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a traditional subdivision. You could put 100 houses out there, the traditional subdivision. Not that anybody would, but that's,
I look at Dennis Clark, and I have a hard time believing we get 100 houses out there with you on conservation. I just do. I understand where you're coming from.
Not that they would put 100 houses,
Right.
but that's one way of appraising it.
I got you.
Those would be postage stamp lots if you put that many houses out there.
Yeah, exactly. But that's how you get your value up, and that's how you make
Well,
your
the
numbers work.
postage stamp is it's zoned R40, so
Yep.
it means you need 20,000 square feet per house.
Okay.
So, if you call that postage stamp, yeah. Or if it was a cluster subdivision, they could even less than that.
Really?
But the new appraisal that's coming in any day now
Yep.
is done with a different approach.
Okay.
They take the road frontage, and there is 3,700 feet of road frontage, and they divide that by 200 because you need 200 feet of frontage.
Right.
And that
right.
gives you the amount of houses you could have.
Sure.
And every one of those lots, I believe, is going to have water frontage also, lake frontage on it. That's a different approach, going to be less houses, bigger lots, but a bigger price tag to each one of those houses. So we'll see how that comes in this week, hopefully. We've got our second appraisal.
Wonderful. Yeah, I guess, on the town side of things, we've heard about it. You, I believe, came in front of us probably a year ago, year and a half, has it been?
Mm-hmm.
In regards to how much support that the select board would give you. And I think we all looked at I'm going to say this, I always say it wrong. Is it the CPA money?
CPA money.
Okay. And I think roughly was $1 million in there we thought could go towards that direction.
Mm-hmm.
Am I correct so far?
That is correct.
Okay,
There's $1 million
good.
that we could spend on the property.
Right.
It's,
So that started
available.
the kitty, or more or less. I mean, everything always has to go to town meeting. You know.
It gave a jump start, right, to the project?
Well, I think it showed that there was, I don't know if the word is equity, or at least there was some, it was tangible on our side. I think the select board always thought the number was high, and I think overall people think the number's high, but that's what the appraisals are for and everything else, to see if that can be whittled down or not whittled down. I don't know how your world works, Dennis.
It's up to the appraisers. We don't
Yeah.
have much say-so or any say-so in the process.
Right.
We go through this with every property that we've ever purchased, get at least 2 appraisals. Sometimes you need 3. If the 2 appraisals aren't
Sure.
close enough, you'll have to get a third one.
Right. And then, are we close to break? I can't even see the clock.
Yeah, got about a minute or two.
Oh, great. Okay, so after we come back from the break, we'll go over numbers and where you think the funding will come from for the what's missing and that kind of stuff. So there's no access. There'll be an access from trails, boat ramp,
No boat ramp.
no boat ramp,
No boat ramp.
but you can get through the bridge there, right?
You can.
I gotcha.
There are no what are those jet skis?
Jet
Aren't
skis.
allowed because it's a pond smaller than 50 square acres.
Oh, really?
50 acres, yeah.
That's how that
It's
works.
a state law. Yeah.
Wonderful. Are jet skis allowed on the middle one?
Yes.
Okay.
Middle and south pond.
Wow. Interesting. And how many houses do you think are out there now on that north pond? How many pieces?
Good question.
20?
I think when I looked at it on the Google Maps, there's only like 20 or 30
Yeah, I'd say
tops.
like 20 or 30.
Exactly. It's right in the ballpark.
Yeah.
20 to 30.
Nice. All right, well, let's get ready for break, and we'll talk shortly after that. Thank you.
WSKB's programming is generously underwritten by Whip City Fiber. Westfield Gas and Electric wants to help you decide where they offer gigabit speed Whip City Fiber Internet next. Turn your neighborhood into a fiberhood. Get on the list today at www.whipcityfiber.com.
We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For additional underwriting opportunities, please contact the Westfield State Foundation offices at 485-7363.
Friday mornings is something different on 89.5 FM. It's JP's Talk About Town.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
All right, we're back. My name is Joe Didi.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University. This is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
All right, now we're back at 89.5. My name is Joe Didi from the town of Southwick. I'm here with the famous Dennis Clark on conservation. Some people hate him, some people love him. At least his wife loves him. That's the good news.
Important.
Yeah, we're here talking about an ice fishing tournament this weekend and the Save North Pond land. I don't know, what are we calling it?
Acquisition?
Acquisition.
If anybody wants to know, go to savenorthpond.org. All the information is on that website.
That's wonderful. All right, so we're talking about money. So the select board roughly said we had $1 million in that CPA fund, and you're at, say, we're going to say we're at $5 million you want for it.
Roughly
All right,
$5 million.
So Dennis, where are we getting the other $4?
Well, first we have to get the $1 million from CPA funds. That does have to go to town meeting.
Yeah.
And when do you think that's going to be, Joe? The town meeting
I would think this spring, no?
in the spring?
Yeah.
I think there might be a date even set for it.
But I got some bad news for you, Dennis. We're probably going to be discussing sewers on that same day.
Oh no!
So nothing personal.
It'll be a packed house.
It'll be a packed house, and but, my stuff does flow downstream. I don't know about the pond, so it's going to be tough, Dennis.
Can't we have it on a different day, Joe?
No, Dennis,
Please.
no.
Or Dennis, can you put that higher up in the order before the sewer discussion?
Well, there you go. Right, so everybody leaves or doesn't leave. Yeah, that's a tough crowd over there when it comes to sewers.
I like that idea, though. We'll put it first on the.
Yeah, put it first. I thought going back to being a selectman instead of a select board was first, and then it was you, but maybe not.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
So that $1 million, that's basically a funds transfer, would it not, or appropriation of the money? If that gets approved, would that now be the seed money that you need to get other grants and things like that?
okay. If we get that money, we also have a grant that's been approved called a land grant, LAND grant from the state, and
Okay.
that grant was for $400,000. So we have that in our pocket right now. Well, actually, the selectmen are going to sign the agreement shortly, hopefully.
Okay.
For the $400,000. We have several other grants applied for. Water protection, supply protection grant, because this property is right over the aquifer. There's a potential for a wellhead out there. We'd like to keep that.
That's right. DPW was talking something about the wellhead and a water line to connect both sides there.
And a water line that would go through it to connect the dead end line that we have now.
Okay, and that probably would also become the property line. Is my understanding.
That's what we decided at the last selectmen's meeting. That
Right.
would be the dividing line between the state and the town property.
And the state is looking to donate how much?
The state's committed $1,250,000.
All right, so now we're at 2,650. Okay, so we're about halfway.
So you're getting halfway there.
Yep, and from private donations, so we had a golf tournament, we've had a bunch of fundraisers, and just people coming into North Pond headquarters and donating money. We've got about $100,000 so far.
That's why I can't get any money for Southwick Days. You took it all. Now I see how this works. Okay.
I think the Lions Club beat us to a lot of the stuff too. I was told.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. All right, so you've absorbed all you could from town. It sounds like, other than you have more the ice fishing tournament coming up. Any other?
We have in the spring. We're going to go full force with. I think we're going to do the pontoon bridge again. The CRC's talking about doing the pontoon bridge,
Yeah.
which was a big fundraiser last time they had that. A thing called a poker run. I'm not real familiar with it, but you go to different places with a hand, the cards. They give you certain cards, and
Right.
if you get the right cards, you win.
What is the CRC? What's that stand for?
Oh, it's Citizens Restoring Congamon.
Okay, they're involved also in this
Taking an
project.
active interest. Oh,
Good.
yeah, they've been supporting this, and they're going to be doing more fundraisers for us.
Wonderful.
We have something called the Lipinski Family Fund. that has quite a bit of money in a fund for
Yep.
the hill towns, and we're looking at getting some grant for the acquisition of the property, and also part of that grant could be for maintenance. We don't expect there's going to be a lot of maintenance, but for trail maintenance, we can get a certain amount every year, like $12,000, I think is the
Okay.
amount, the cap on that per year. The big factor in this right now is the Franklin Land Trust. They're one of the largest, if not the largest, land trust in this area, Western Massachusetts.
Now they're involved with North Pond on this project now.
They are spearheading this project. They're the ones that are going
I
to
met them the other day. Okay, yes.
actually buying the property. They're going to come up with the lump sum of money, buy the property, and they get reimbursed from the town, from the state,
I
from
see.
any other funds that are coming in, which they have a few other private donors also that they're working on for
Great.
a few $100,000 here and there. But we still definitely need more money. That's right now is what we're working at.
So would the Franklin Land Trust become the owner of the property, or would the town eventually become the owner?
The Franklin Land Trust does not want to own property. They just want to be the transition process.
They're the agent that makes it happen?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So the town would own 60 acres? I
Okay.
think we decided on.
Yep.
The rest would go towards the state property. The entire thing would have a conservation restriction that would be governed by the state, and we're working on that right now for maintenance of trails, for
Right.
parking area, and any other little incidentals that we might need to do out there. A potential forest management plan, which doesn't mean we're going to necessarily cut trees. A forest management plan just tells you what you should do
What
with
you should do,
with
yep.
your trees. So we're working on that right now, and we have a lot of support from a lot of different agencies, and having the selectmen's support is key in this. Without their support, this project would not happen. We know that. But we need to get out there and start raising more money. We've got to get the awareness up and realize how important it is. John Wally's been doing a campaign with businesses. They're matching every dollar that the people, anybody citizen puts in there gets matched by the businesses, so it doubles
Nice.
their contribution.
Nice. That's wonderful. So maintenance-wise, you don't think we're going to be spending $20,000 or $30,000 a year maintaining that
No.
property as we move forward if we purchase it?
In the first couple of years, it'd be a little more to clear the trees. We want to
Sure.
make sure there's no branches fall and knock people in the head, stuff like
Right.
that. After that, it's just going to be a maintenance as far as keeping the trails clean and making sure the parking area is sufficient.
So what do we tell the people? Because, people, it's funny that I get approached, I guess, as a select board member, as a business owner, as a fool that moved back to Southwick. And they say, well, no, Joe, where do you stand? Not where the select board stand.
Personally,
Where do you stand? And I kind of chuckle with that, because I guess the select board as a whole feel it's definitely worth saving. But when we say that, we also kind of chuckle and go, when is too much land enough land?
Mm-hmm.
We ask you that all the time, Dennis, because you kind of know what we really do own in this town for open space. You're not that you run that show, but you live that every day with your conservation and some of the duties that you do have. So people, the guys that don't live on that lake don't want that lake. And I kind of smile and say, well, it's a piece that if we don't develop it, it's wonderful. We'll have it for the rest of our lives. Then they kind of smile and say, well, what about Krabby Joe's? Are we going to buy that when it becomes for sale? Because we should, God forbid, we should have restrictions over there. And I kind of laugh and say, well, no, we're past that. Houses are houses. They're up. They've been up. Whether it's Louis B's or Krabby Joe's or a little breakfast joint on the water, they're there. So
Yeah, those are
Isn't
great.
this more about in the Northeast we're just running out of space in general?
yeah,
And any natural land you can preserve, you should.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, those are great questions. Very, very good questions.
But it's interesting.
If you look at it from a private citizen that's a businessman, sure, they're going to make more money if there's houses out there.
Absolutely.
If you're looking at it that way. If you're looking at it from the point of view of a selectman, you're actually going to save the town money. If you look at our previous history with subdivisions, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find one that the town has actually made any money.
I don't even want to think about
lost a ton of money.
And the paperwork back in the day was terrible, and between roads that are no good, and it's crazy what we passed as subdivisions.
And we're still paying for it.
We're
The
going to be paying for
taxpayers
it for years.
For years and years.
Yeah.
In that respect, and the respect that we've already built our schools and we've
Yep,
already built
they're
our
big.
town complexes to fit what we have now. We don't want to have to go through that again and more expense.
Yeah, I think there is room still left at those schools, but I do understand what you're saying. We have a volunteer fire department, which we're slowly going to be transitioning over, but and that's not cheap.
Yeah.
A fire truck's $1 million. Look at Port Westfield; they bought that beautiful that ladder truck. It was $1 million and change.
But getting back to Pete's question,
What Pete's was about
About,
how much land is too much
preserving, like
Yeah,
you
I mean,
say,
in New England, the problem here is we're a shortage of land. I mean, if you go out to the west, my sister-in-law lives in Houston. They can just keep expanding. There's plenty of land out there to be had for subdivisions and housing
Oh, it's
and
crazy.
smaller towns and things like that. In New England, this is it. There's not much left.
now, Pete, you saw those aerial maps, and you see that that's the only piece of land on the lakes that is available.
left.
That
Absolutely.
Has been developed.
Yeah.
And once that's gone, there's not going to be any more. So that's very important that we preserve what we do have left. As far as other places, Krabby Joe's or any other places, that's I don't think that's going to happen.
No, I don't either. Personally, I just you walk into the grocery store, Dennis, and people pull you aside and say,
Yeah.
"What do you think?"
Yeah. I hear rumors that they want to buy the Skybox, and
Oh, there's no rumor there. That's me right here. You can just throw all that hate mail right at Joe Didi. That's not a problem. The theory there.
Well,
was-
isn't there also a group that's preserving the old skating rink or something, the roller skating
Connecticut.
rink?
that was the Citizens Restoring Congamon, but that was kind of a failed effort on their part, and they turned it over to the town of Suffield, who now has it, and they're actually making a success out of
they're
it.
doing very well with that. It looks like.
So now
Okay.
the new Citizens Restoring Congamon, their effort is going towards saving North Pond. Even though a lot of them live in Connecticut and are on Middle and South Pond, North Pond is the most popular pond because of the reason that there are no houses out there. People can just park their boats, have a picnic, bring their kids out there, go swimming, fishing.
And that North Pond is all in the state of Mass.
North Pond is entirely in the state of Massachusetts, correct?
Wonderful. But
All right, Joe, I think we need a break here on 89.5 FM.
all righty, take us to break.
Hey, grab a sip of that.
We get it almost every night. And when that moon gets so big and bright, it's a supernatural delight. Everybody was dancing in the moonlight. Everybody here is out of sight. They don't bark and they don't bite. They keep things loose, they keep things alive. Everybody was dancing in the moonlight. Dancing in the moonlight. Everybody's feeling warm and bright. It's such a fine and natural sight. Everybody's dancing in the moonlight. We like our fun and we never fight. You can't dance and stay uptight. It's supernatural delight. Everybody was dancing in the moonlight. Dancing in the moonlight. Everybody's feeling warm and bright. It's such a fine and natural sight. Everybody's dancing in the moonlight. Everybody here is out of sight. They don't bark and they don't bite. They keep things loose, they keep things alive. Everybody was dancing in the moonlight. Everybody's dancing in the moonlight. Everybody's feeling warm and bright. It's such a fine and natural sight. Everybody's dancing in the moonlight.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Barnes & Noble College Bookstore at Westfield State University, right here in the Ely Campus Center. Whether you're a student, faculty member, or friend of the university, it's the place to shop. Everything from Westfield State t-shirts, sweatshirts, and gift merchandise to all of your academic needs. Offering textbook materials in new, used, ebook, and rental formats. Visit the bookstore on campus or online at www.westfieldstate.bncollege.com. Underwriting for Community Radio on WSKB is brought to you in part by Rockies. Over 30 convenient locations throughout Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Florida. One of the nation's largest ACE dealers. Expertise in great product selection in paint, hardware, lawn, and garden. That's Rockies. Rock solid service since 1926. On the web at rockies.com. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Commercial Distributing Company of Westfield. Now in its third generation of family ownership, Commercial is one of the premier beverage distributors of Western Massachusetts. The Plasek family and the staff of Commercial Distributing wishes you good times throughout the year and urges you to drink responsibly.
We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For additional underwriting opportunities, please contact the Westfield State Foundation offices at 485-7363.
Discussions of local politics, events, happenings, and miscellany potpourri. Ken's Den, Tuesday, 8 to 10. Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
This time we're on, huh?
Hey.
There you go.
Oh, boy. All right, so WSKB 89.5. My name's Joe Didi. I'm here with Dennis Clark, and we just talked about the North Pond for the last 40 minutes or so. There's an ice fishing tournament on
Saturday, February 18th from 7 to 1 p.m. 3 chances to win. It's at the Cove Banquet and Tavern at 90 Point Grove Road. Used to be the Brass Rail.
Yep.
New owners. They've been doing quite a bit with the place. They've been fixing it up. They've been having bands there, comedy nights. She's really doing a good job there. We'd like to support her as much as possible.
So the place is active. That's good.
Yeah, very, very good. She's trying to bring it back.
Sat quiet for a long time over there.
Yeah, and it's a nice facility. It's a very nice place. It used to be back in the heyday when it was Gino's Brass Rail. It used to be the place to go.
Was there a bowling alley in the cellar of that or
There was a
something?
bowling alley in the cellar. Yes, I've heard many stories about.
Yeah, same here. We're so young we don't. We weren't part of that.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'd love to see if there's any equipment still there, or is it all gone now?
Boy, you know what? I was in that cellar for a Rotary event about a year and a half ago, and I didn't want to look around, so I have no idea.
I hear it's pretty scary. It's kind of haunted down there.
Yeah, I would say it is.
There's spirits.
Yeah, there was plenty of spirits. There's no doubt about that. All right, so North Pond, we talked about that. What else is going on around the lakes? There's been some talk about the old skybox, or I shouldn't say the old skybox, the skybox.
First skybox.
A couple of years ago, they approached the town in regards to the town purchasing it, and I believe at the time the numbers were kind of high. And unfortunately, that the ponds in general have, bars and restaurants that probably back in the day were fine, but as people have made those part-time cottages permanent housing, I don't know, how do you say this, the
Mixed use.
the mixed use is kind of now all of a sudden people want to sleep at night. They don't want the bands playing. The drinking I don't think has really ever been the issue. It's the people leaving the bars, the noise that's created.
Yep.
Yeah. So we had looked at the old the skybox and couldn't really come to terms with those folks. But in the last few months, they've reached back out and their numbers are a little better, actually quite a bit better than what they were looking for. So I went to the select board and discussed it with them, and we're going after grants through the Rails for Trails, I believe it's called, because the bike trail is right there.
Mm-hmm.
And with any luck, if I can secure that money, I'll probably have to go to the CPA for, my understanding is about $20,000 to do engineering work that the town would have to pay for. And everyone says, you can make it a bike shop, you can have bathrooms there.
A welcome center.
A welcome center. And just so everyone understands, it's coming down. It's going to get leveled. It would become a parking lot for the Rails for Trails, which I believe in that area there's really nothing.
It's a lack of parking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that would be wonderful. And then my understanding too, because as much as I say I'm not a politician, I still don't think I am. But that road there, that bend, we could almost get straightened out because now the town would own that corner, and they say that's an issue there.
and I understand Mr. Wally is willing to donate some of his property that.
I've
about
heard
that.
I've heard rumors about that, but depending on the day, Joe and John sometimes don't get along. So
I've heard that from John himself.
So
saying
Joe
that
will
he-
wait until it's closer before Joe asks John.
But it would be
about
nice
that.
to have that area secured for parking. People wouldn't have to be parking in private properties.
Yeah,
and,
I think that cleans up the corner. The noise there has always been an issue with those neighbors. I think that cleans that mess up. That doesn't become a bar anymore. That whole neighborhood should quiet down as a whole. And I think it's a win-win.
You're doing strategic planning there, Joe.
No, I just I get it, and it's a tough area that part of town with the lakes because if you look back at the pictures, I have some hanging up at Malicious. There are some beautiful pictures of the heyday when the trains would come through Southwick with New Yorkers on there, and they partied all weekend.
Oh yeah,
It's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
thousands of people.
Yeah. So it's,
Yeah, up until even when Mom said when she was a kid, the Congamon was the place that they would rent a cottage on every summer,
there you go.
and for at least 2 weeks and come out of the city, and obviously that's why so many people went there. And it's just
Yeah.
I'm not sure what happened to that, but it's still a place to go for the summer. I don't know how many people still rent cottages out there, but she said that was her thing. They went to a cottage every summer on the lake instead of going to the beach or something like that.
Yeah, and that's what's happened is those rentals are now permanent homeowners.
Very few cottages.
Yeah, are rentable. Everyone lives there now, so that kind of changed that whole outlook of the ponds. Even with the ice fishing, years ago you could fire up an auger and go, and now, oops, there's neighbors.
Yeah.
They don't like it at 6 a.m. for some reason.
We should mention the Lake Management Committee, who is a town committee that has been working with us on preserving North Pond, but also on cleaning up the lake.
Is it Dick Grenell's?
Dick Grinnell's is the
Dick
chair.
Grinnell's.
Yep.
They came in with a crew. There were some dedicated guys on
Yeah.
that board. They could tell me how much muck was so far down. I always thought when I was ice fishing, I'd hit the bottom and come up a little bit. I can't catch anything. That's because there's no oxygen down there. But they said, no, I just suck at ice fishing. But those guys are something else. What a dedicated crew there was out there.
They pulled out, I don't know how many ton of debris.
Yeah.
It's just floating around the lake. 2 dumpsters full one year.
Yep.
And they're working on a comprehensive dredging program for the lake because it does need maintenance, and we do have muck on the bottom.
Yeah.
It surfaces every year. It gets a little bit worse with the blue-green algae.
That's the algae bloom that we run into every once in a while
Yeah,
up there.
it's cyanobacteria is the name of it, and it is a toxin. And every year we come close to almost having shut down the lakes, especially South Pond,
Yeah.
because of the amount that comes up. But the good news is we have one of the best limnologists in the entire Northeast, Ken Wagner, that's working for us.
Yes, you do.
And he has comprehensive studies done all over that lake. They have baselines of all different types of things. I don't even know where to begin, but he's done a lot of lakes in Massachusetts. He's semi-retired now, so we're lucky to get him. And
Yeah, it's a great crew they have over there. It really is. The time and effort they put in for free is it's amazing.
And the dredging nowadays isn't like it used to be. You'd get out there with a big scoop and make a mess. They have things that look like vacuum cleaners, hydrosuction. They can suck it up, put it on the shore, dry it out, and the farmers love the soil because once it's dried out, there's not a problem anymore. It's only when it's on the bottom of the lake that it's a problem.
Oh, interesting. Very nice. And that's what I believe we're going for funding through the state for that also.
That's correct. And we had a environmental bond bill that was granted last year, but I don't know if we've seen any of that money yet.
I hear it's sitting on a shelf, whatever that means.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's elf on the shelf or how that works, but
We're
it's on a shelf.
supposed to get the dredging equipment and keep it at the Mass DOT and share it with other towns.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
And the people on the DPW could actually do the work.
Oh, wow. Yeah, because I would think even in Westfield, what's it? What are the ponds up there by the Hoyle
Hampton
Pond?
Pond.
Hampton
yeah,
Ponds.
They must
yeah.
have issues also,
They do.
right?
They have issues up there. We could
Yeah.
share it with them.
Yep. So it's not just us; it's everyone around us.
If you remember the old days when we had weed harvesters out on the lake every day,
Yep.
cutting the weeds down and spreading them all over the lake.
Do we still have that machine?
No,
Okay.
they all got sold, and
Oh, thank God.
it found out it was kind of doing more harm
Damage.
than good by
Yeah.
ripping that up. The chemical treatment that they did, we got very lucky. Eliminated over 95% of the milfoil in the lake.
Wow.
Very fortunate.
Yeah.
Invasive species was, when I first moved in town, it was taking over the lake. The property values were down. You couldn't swim in a lot of the places. It was even though the fishermen like weeds, there was even too much weeds for the fishermen.
There's quite I noticed if you have breakfast next door there, a lot of fishing tournaments during the summer. A lot of big boats coming in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The bass tournaments.
Bass tournaments. There you go.
And a lot of that funding goes towards the lake too.
Nice.
The state boat launch.
Yep.
All,
So that's so.
so you're talking about that Legends restaurant?
There you
Yes.
go. I'm sorry.
I hear they got their hours extended.
They did, and I'm not a. Since I got on the board, I haven't been a fan of liquor licenses. I don't know why. I think there's been enough fatalities around Southwick, Westfield, that I'm done with it.
Yeah.
Personally, we voted down quite a few of these licenses. That one went through, and unfortunately, they came back for extended hours. They got it, and it's tough because, as one board member told me, next door they're open till 2 a.m. or they're allowed to be open at 2 a.m. with a liquor license. So how do you stop it?
Correct.
That's
Yeah.
tough for
4
competition.
feet
Yeah.
away. Yeah. I hope it was the right move. Hopefully it is, and the neighbors are okay with it. I know they're not okay with
Yeah.
it, but it's tough, and I cringe. But then I say to myself, well, down the street, hopefully I'll be pulling one of those out of there and making it a parking lot.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
tick for tack, I hope.
And you're taking a bar, a loud, noisy,
Yeah.
rowdy bar, out of the equation.
Yep.
And Legends is more of just a.
It really is a breakfast,
restaurant,
lunch,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
dinner, Yeah, you're right. Restaurants, no different than a Village Pizza. You can have a beer or wine with your meal. But it just, I don't know. It sucks.
And with that, it's 9 o'clock on WSKB Westfield. I think you're all set.
All right. Thank you very much, Pete. I hope you're feeling better soon, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.